Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hillary's Whiskey Lounge. I'm Hillary, and this is my whiskey lounge. And today I am going to be reviewing a whiskey that is actually not too popular amongst enthusiasts, those in the know. But I had a couple people write me questions about it and if I could do a quick review on it. And what that product is Oban. Oban is it's a little town off of the West Highland side of Scotland. This town is actually notable because it's the town from which it seems to me most of the Calmac ferries take off. So if you want to go anywhere, any island, anywhere, probably in the west, in the Outer Hebrides, Inner Hebrides, you're going to have to get to Oban. But I know maybe you can go if you get to Skye. Maybe you can take some other ferries um, to the Outer Hebrides, like to Lewis and Harris from Skye, I think. Anyway, it just seems like most of the Calmac ferries take off out of Oban. Oban is a cute little quaint town. It's got these little fish shacks. It's got a couple adorable pubs. Um, it's it's got a lot of history too, and it has this kind of interesting modern take on the Colosseum, and it's on top of a hill. So maybe I'll throw a couple pictures up here so you can see really how cute Oban is, the little bay of Oban. It's spelled Oban, just like this canister says. But let me tell you a little bit about the whiskey. It's a very small distillery. In fact, it's built into what looks like a bunch of the buildings, the sort of facades and storefronts right along the boardwalk. In fact, it's the first distillery into which I ever went the first time I was in Scotland. And so I was welcomed in. I saw some Oban brand things, but I also saw some brands of of other whiskeys that I was wondering why are those being like t-shirts, sweatshirts from Talisker and um, let's see, Craigenmore and um, Talisker and Lagavulin. And I was like, what are these doing here? That was in the old days before I knew about Diageo. What Diageo is, it's a huge conglomerate that owns about 200 brands of liquors, beers, wines, I think wines, that are consumed all over the world. Um, so I didn't know anything about that. I was just kind of wondering why, when I was doing the tasting flight, all of these other, there was Dalwhinnie, there was the Craigenmore, Talisker, in the same flight as Oban, even though Oban does have several expressions in its range. So that was when I was just kind of a really greenhorn whiskey drinker. I had no idea about the conglomerate Diageo or these other brands. And I didn't know anything about artificial coloring and chill filtering. This is in the days before I started watching Ralphie, before I started watching Jeff in G Whiskey, before I really knew anything about whiskey besides, ooh, let's go to Scotland and drink some whiskey. The thing about Diageo is being a conglomerate and really being in the money making business. They really, in my opinion, this is all just opinion, don't jump on my back about this, but they really don't care too much about the non-chill filtering, the added color process that just is really in for the money making, and the what that does is just make the product really consistent and kind of flat and boring for everybody who buys it. I went on a Talisker tour and I got really cheeky and I asked the tour guide when we were doing our tastings if the product was chill filtered. And he just kind of grumbled and backed up and mumbled something. And then I asked him, I was being really mean, I guess. Then I asked him if there was color added to the Talisker. And again, he kind of backed off and mumbled something. And other of the patrons just kind of turned at me and smiled. I think my son must have kicked me under the table or something like that. But Talisker is also owned by Diageo. So it's not that every whiskey that's owned by a huge conglomerate is bad or anything. It's just that they're flat, they're boring, they're too consistent. They're made for patrons who want that flatness, that boring, nothing exciting to it, no variations in them, no Scotch mist. Goodness, God forbid if there be Scotch mist, this kind of goo coming up in our whiskey. So, since a couple people did ask me about Oban, I thought I would do a quick review of it. Now, the reason why I have this bottle, I'll explain at the end of the video, if it's so unpleasant. But you can actually see here is a nice glass of Oban. It's got a light honeyed character, although I would say that this does look like color has been added. It's not that it's dark, it's just too perfect. Now it does have an age statement on it. It is a 14. Does it even say? Yeah, it kind of says in sort of ghostwriting there. It is a 14. I don't even know what kind of barrels this has been matured in, but after 14 years, you can expect that a whiskey would have this much color, but I'm just suspicious, mainly because this color is too perfect, and also because the bottle or the canister say nothing. The bottle says nothing on it about being natural colored and no non-chill filtered. And you can bet that if a product is non-chill filtered and natural color, it's going to say so on the bottle, just to let those who really want to know. So anyway, let's try this. I haven't added any water to it because this is 43%, which is kind of low, in my opinion. So I have, where is my water pitcher is here, just in case there's any salvaging this dram with opening up any flavors that it might have. So on the nose, it's very, very light. Um, I've got a really, really good nose, and I can hardly smell this. Um, it's really light and fruity and honeyed, honey smelling. It's pleasant. I would say, for somebody who's never had whiskey before, to give this as a gift, you could do that, if the person you're giving it to is not an aficionado or enthusiast. So it's got a nice, very fruity aroma. Not bitter at all. I don't think it's peaty at all, even though the bottle or the canister says it's got sort of a slight peat. Or no, it was the yearbook, the malt whiskey yearbook, saying that it has a slight smokiness to it. I don't detect that. Okay, let's do our first taste. Hmm. Okay. The taste was also very honey, very fruity. The finish, kind of almost like a bitter leathery taste. That sounds appetizing. But the arrival and the development, the kind of nice fruitiness, it almost tasted like a fruit punch, like Kool-Aid or Hawaiian punch to me. Um, I know that to the most enthusiasts that doesn't sound very good, but the light fruitiness is kind of nice. Like I said, especially if you're a first-time drinker, if you're afraid of whiskey, if you think it's going to be too harsh and bitter, this is maybe kind of a nice little gateway bottle. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water and see if that does anything to our dram. A little tiny bit because this is 43%, so like we're talking a drop. Okay. I added like literally 3 drops, not my usual, 4 or 5 mils. So let's do a nice quick swirl. I'm not expecting to see any Scotch mist out of this. And I know that it's too fast for there to be any Scotch mist, but I'm just really not. Okay. The nose has really not changed much. Um, it's still very fruity, very floral smelling. And let's taste. Um, Also very floral. The finish with a little bit of water is a little peppery, so that's kind of interesting. A little spicy, a little peppery. As far as other elements that go into tasting a whiskey, besides the look of it, the aroma of it, the taste of it, there's really no mouthfeel to this at all. There's none of that nice, heavy, oily, delicious, viscous mouthfeel that we get from so many of the other whiskeys that we know. We know. Um, but it's pleasant. I wouldn't buy this bottle again. I probably wouldn't buy any other Oban products again. I do try to stay away from Diageo products on the whole, just because of that kind of prejudice I have against the big conglomerates. So, like I love Springbank. I love all those family-owned, very small distilleries, Edradour and Springbank and Aberlour. Well, is Aberlour might be owned by a bigger company. I might be wrong. But yeah, this is pleasant. Um, if you're an enthusiast, if you're an aficionado, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, why do I have this bottle of Oban if I feel this way towards it so much? It's because um, I got a new hamster, and I love hamsters. The little rodent that stuffs its pouches full. And my son and I agreed that the name Oban of this little Scottish port town that we love so much, Oban would be a good name for him. And that's his name. We tried on a bunch of names on him, um, but and I have to say that we got him from a hamstery called Poppy Bee. So, Jess, if you're watching this video, because I sent it to you, shout out to Poppy Bee Hamstery. Really one of the best, probably the best hamstery in the country. Jess does an amazing job with her hamsters. So I'm going to pop up a couple pictures of Oban here. Some of you might be grossed out by hamsters, but you know what? They don't have really long tails or anything. They've got like these little stubby tails. So our hamster is named Oban, and I just wanted to have one bottle of the Oban whiskey to commemorate his arrival. So I've had him for about a month now, and so I'm going to take the label off of this, put it on my bulletin boards. So that's why I have this bottle of Oban, but also because a couple people wrote in the comments that they would like to hear more about Oban, I thought I would help you out. Um, so I hope this has helped. That I do sound very hesitant, don't I? One of the reasons why I'm sounding very hesitant too is because tomorrow is my first day of school. And yes, this 43%, one little dram of Oban is all I'm going to have tonight. But it's my first day of school tomorrow, and it's bittersweet. I'm starting my 34th year at this one school, um, in the same role, and I'm very tired. I'm losing some bandwidth, but I saw some students today, and seeing my students, um, just like, "Hi you guys, how are you doing? How's everything?" Um, that's what makes it worth it. If there are any teachers out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's seeing your students, it's talking with them, it's seeing their faces light up when they understand something. There's so much that goes into teaching, and so much that I have gotten out of it. But it is bittersweet. So goodbye summer, goodbye lounging around, um, and and hello students and hello school. So This has been a strange little video. I feel a little torn. I'm in a dilemma about how I feel right now. So, comments. Speaking of comments, if you could leave a comment down below. If you have not subscribed yet, I'm hoping to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm hoping to up my watch hours. This is a YouTube thing. It would really help my channel. Just go to one of my playlists and press play on automatic and loop and have it loop. That would be great. I need about 25 more hours to get up to the first threshold of of YouTube-ness. The next threshold is 4,000 hours. So that would be much appreciated by me. If you have friends who are into whiskey or they want to get into whiskey, let them know about my channel. Have them start watching all the way from the beginning about whiskey basics. If you have some friends who are enthusiasts or aficionados, maybe send them my videos so they can laugh at me and put in the comments that I'm such a noob at this. But we all have to start somewhere. So I'm a noob at this who knows a little bit about, from my experience and opinions, a little bit about Scotch whiskey now. So if you've been a follower of mine or a subscriber, I really, really appreciate it. And if you're a teacher out there and you're about to start your school year or you've already started, then